Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It's the Distinguished Professor.
A real patriot. He is my friend, and he is my great mentor.
And good-looking professor.
Hey, this is an impromptu, I guess, class. Really, we're going to talk about Kamala Harris. I'm going to be real quick. I don't want to keep you long, but again, we're going to talk about Kamala Harris and what this means for the community, what this means for the United States. I'll be very brief. I don't like to talk religion and politics, but I think this is something that is a topic we really need to speak about, and it also relates to relationships. So let's talk about it. Class is in session. So as of Sunday, Joe Biden announced that he was going to step down and not seek reelection in November, which was a huge thing. I mean, it hasn't been done. I think it's only been done twice in the history of this nation. So this is interesting, and the fact, I mean, it was a real big pivot, because the fact that not only is he stepping down, because wow, that debate was ridiculous, but um, he endorsed Kamala Harris as VP, a black woman, black and Indian woman. I apologize. I want to make sure I get all her races out there. So black and Indian woman uh, to be the next president of the United States, be the 47th president of the United States, will be the first time in history that's ever happened. Um, so that's big. I mean, we all know that Trump isn't liked for the most part, especially in uh, the black lady community, the black women community. Because even after the debate, I was trying to find a video, couldn't find it, where a guy went on the street after the debate. We know how much of a cluster crap that was with Biden, and no matter what happened, no matter who he interviewed, the street reporter, no matter who he interviewed, every black woman stayed on code. And it wasn't like a group thing. It was individual women. And everyone stayed on code. Like, no, I think Biden won. Or I think Biden's this. I think Biden's that. And everyone said, oh, Trump lost. So, and even speaking with some of my friends who obviously are black, right? They're like, no, I'm not voting for Trump. I refuse to vote for Trump. So, like I said, this is huge. The fact that she's not only a black woman, well, partially black woman, but also a woman is huge. And if you look at it, I think she's AKA, and so I think the AKA's raised $1 million in a day for her. She raised over $81 million, which is a record um, of raising money, and in a short amount of time. I think it was in a day or so. So she has a little steam coming behind her. I'm not a big. I'm not. I don't know who JD Vance is. He's gonna have his, he's gonna have some things cut out for him. But Trump probably may have a fight on his hands. He may have a fight on his hands. But let's dive into a few things and look at a few things that Kamala Harris has, and we'll see what we like after that. So yeah, let's look at where it started. As you see here, we got Sweet Dick Willie Brown. I'm just joking. They call him Sweet Dick, but his name Willie Brown. Um, Kamala Harris. Actually, Willie Brown admitted to dating her. Some people say it was extramarital. Some people say she was his mistress, but that's hearsay, so that's alleged. But what he did say is that yes, we dated. So no matter what that context ensued, she dated him. He was a big shot, and in San Francisco. So a lot of people say that she slept her way to the top, and I mean, man, she may have slept her way all the way to the White House. And this is alleged, but he does admit to dating Kamala back in the early '90s, I believe. So that's what she gets. I guess that's where she gets her start from. But you gotta have some sort of leverage, right? So this is sort of what things started with her, I guess. So as we all know, Kamala Harris was an attorney, is an attorney. She was a prosecutor, a district attorney, before she rose to prominence in politics. But this is something that's, as an attorney general, that Kamala did, and she issued a statement on appeal of court ruling on California's death penalty. And again, I'll try to have links to all of this, all the material I'm providing. But it says Attorney General Kamala D. Harris today issued the following statement on the decision to appeal the U.S. Central District of Columbia court's ruling on the state's death penalty. The court found that California's death penalty is unconstitutional on the grounds that it takes too long for courts to consider and rule on defendants' challenges to their convictions and sentences. Well, this is what she had to say about that. I am appealing the court's decision because it is not supported by the law and it undermines important protections that our courts provide to defendants. This flawed ruling requires appellate review. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like, she came under a lot of scrutiny for this. And there's other things we're going to get to, but she came under a lot of scrutiny for this because she was like, no, I want to keep the death penalty. I think it's unconstitutional not to have the death penalty. And this is just how things started. We understand that there's a percentage of men, a percentage of people, I'm not men, a percentage of people who are convicted of crimes and are sentenced to death, and some of those get overturned. Um, what's the movie? I think the movie was called The Life of David Gale. Don't quote me. I think it's called The Life of David Gale. Uh, that had uh, I think Kevin Spacey was in it, or John Cusack. I get those two mixed up from time to time. And I don't want to spoil it, but basically it was two people who were fighting for justice, fighting for men on the death penalty. It's a fictional movie, fighting for justice on who for men who are for people who are on death row, and it shows how people can be um, um, prosecuted and sent to death and are unalived um, for something they wouldn't do. So innocent people are unalived uh, on, I guess, on a certain basis. And sorry for rambling there. I apologize, but no, I'm trying to remember all the movie without giving it away. But it basically was just trying to say, hey, there are innocent people who get unalived, who get the death penalty and are unalived if they were innocent the whole time. So it's a good movie. I think it was in the early 2000s or late 90s. I always thought it was a good movie. Everyone I've had see the movie thought it was a good movie. So I think it's called The Life of David Gale. But check it out. I'll update it in a later video once I get the correct information. But I think it is called The Life of David Gale. You may be able to find it somewhere. It's a good movie, but this is just a part of what she did and some of the issues she had while she was at AG out in California. So let's keep it moving. I mean, this is a huge thing because she wasn't, like I said, she was all about the death penalty. But another thing is she wanted to jail parents whose kids uh, didn't go to school. Like, that this is crazy. And we all know that a disproportionate amount of single parents are Black and Hispanic, Black and brown. And with that being said, if a parent has to work and they're going to work at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock to make sure they have food on the table for their 1, 2, 3, 7, 8 kids, you know, because the fathers are not around because they pick bad and the men were crap, they were dusty. So if they're going to work and they're expecting their kids to go to school, but their kid is not, you're going to penalize the parent. You're going to put the parent in jail. That's absolutely asinine. These are the policies that she wanted to do when she was in the highest seat, and in California. This is absolutely crazy. So I'm gonna scroll down this article real quick, and there's a video I'm gonna play. So um, fair use, copyright, fair use. That I'll use this, but I mean, we'll look at the video, and we don't necessarily need to read the article because she'll go over some of the stuff. But again, I mean, I read the top part where it says there are good reasons to be suspicious of the idea that former prosecutors make good politicians. And then it says there's a worldview that worldview is fully on display in recently unearthed video footage of Kamala Harris defending her decision to criminally prosecute parents for their children's truancy. In the video, taken at the Commonwealth Club in 2010, when Harris was the district attorney of San Francisco, Harris says that because of a child going without an education is tantamount to a crime, she decided to treat parents with absentee children as criminals. What in the world kind of nonsense is that? She called herself the top cop. You know, I know NWA had a song called Forget the Police. I know it was another F word, but I'm using Forget the Police. And we all love police. I have friends that are police, family members that are police. I'm not talking poorly against police. But the fact that you want to put parents in jail because while they're out to work, their kids not going to school, that is absolutely crazy. But let's see what she says in the video. I mean, actions speak louder than words. So let me see what she has to say about it.
I would not be standing here were it not for the education I received. And I know many of us will say the same thing. And I believe a child going without an education is tantamount to a crime. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy. Well, this was a little controversial in San Francisco. And frankly, my staff went bananas. They were very concerned because we didn't know at the time whether I was going to have an opponent in my reelection race. But I said, look, I'm done. This is a serious issue, and I've got a little political capital, and I'm going to spend some of it. And this is what we did. We recognized that in that initiative, as a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick. The school district has got a carrot. Let's work in tandem around our collective objective and goal, which is to get those kids in school. So to that end, on my letterhead, now let me tell you something about my letterhead. When you're the DA of a major city in this country, usually the job comes with a badge. And there is often an artistic rendering of said badge on your stationery. So I sent a letter out on my letterhead to every parent in the school district, outlining the connection that was statistically proven between elementary school truancy, high school dropouts, who will become a victim of crime, and who will become a perpetrator of crime. We sent it out to everyone. A friend of mine actually called me and he said, Kamala, my wife got the letter. She freaked out. She brought all the kids into the living room, held up the letter, said, if you don't go to school, Kamala's going to put you and me in jail. Yes, we achieved intended effect.
Hey, I mean, I'm glad she can laugh about that. I mean, that's absolutely asinine. I get what she's saying when it comes to the correlation between truancy and high school dropouts. I get it. I understand it. But you shouldn't penalize the parents for it. The parents who are single parents have a hard enough time putting food on the table for you to put them in jail. That is absolutely crazy for them to have to worry you putting them in jail. So, hey, boss, guess what? I'm gonna be late today because I have to make sure Johnny or Susie gets to school. So please don't dock my pay, or please don't fire me. So it's either I can potentially lose my job, or go to jail. There is nothing happy about that. I was in a situation where my mother was a single mother after a certain amount of time, and I was out of school from time to time. I would not go to school because that's what kids do, right? But I didn't drop out. I kept going to school. And yes, I'm one of many, right? But it's not what you do. Like, you should not penalize the parents for, and I don't want to stand on that. You shouldn't penalize the parents for their kid not going to school. I mean, the parent themselves may be able to do something, or try something, or maybe rely on a family member or a neighbor. But this is absolutely crazy that she even did that. Trying to see what else she said. It said here. I know she said her staff didn't agree with it. I was trying to find some other stuff that was said in here, but we'll move on. But this is absolutely crazy. Well, here's one I wanted to read. I remember it said that the human consequences here can be truly devastating. They talk about putting a mother in jail because their kid is truant. The human consequences here can be truly devastating. In 2014, a mother in Pennsylvania named Eileen Danino passed away in jail having been in prison for failing to pay fines for her children's truancy. So this is going sort of hand in hand. So she didn't pay the fines for truancy. I guess in Pennsylvania they have something like this. So she didn't pay the fines for truancy, so she had to go to jail. Having been in prison for failing to pay fines for her children's truancy. According to the lawsuit filed by the Nino's family, jail staff knew Nino had uncontrolled high blood pressure but denied her access to medication. That policy that Harris championed can literally unalive mothers. And let's talk about the single fathers as well, because there's single fathers out there can do the exact same thing. So this is just one of the policies she's passed, or one of the past, that could potentially hurt parents. This is like I refuse to believe that she would even think of passing something like that. If I was in her her department, I would have been flabbergasted and gone bananas as well. I don't, you know, a hammer can get things done. You can hammer some things in, and sometimes a hammer is not needed. And she wanted to use a hammer for this and to solve a problem, where a screwdriver probably could have done the same job, or something else could have done the same job. But you don't need to use a hammer for everything, right? So this is kind of eye opening. But again, this is it doesn't matter because she's a black woman, so it doesn't matter. But let's continue on. Let's see what else we got. Now I want to also look at this article. It is from the New York Times. I was having a hard time getting it, so I did copy it and put it on a word pad. You can't see it, but I'll read some excerpts. But it's from the New York Times, dated January 17th, 2019. So you can go look this up. This is not anything fake. I'm not making anything up. Kamala Harris was not a progressive prosecutor, and it just goes on to talk about how Kamala fought tooth and nail to uphold wrongful convictions that had been secured through official misconduct that included evidence tampering, false testimony, and suppression of crucial information by prosecutors. So again, your top cop suppressed evidence, made sure that men who are wrongfully convicted stayed wrongfully convicted. This is crazy. So not only does she want to put mothers and fathers who are single parents in jail because their kids not going to school, but she wants to keep people in jail who have been wrongfully convicted. This is absolutely asinine. It says, consider her record as San Francisco's district attorney from 2004 to 2011. You only be able to see part of this. Again, check the article out. It's on it's the New York Times. Uh, Ms. Harris was criticized in 2010 for withholding information about a police laboratory tech who had been accused of intentionally sabotaging her work and stealing drugs from the lab. After a memo surfaced showing that Mrs. Harris's deputies knew about the technician's wrongdoing and recent conviction, but failed to alert defense lawyers, a judge condemned Mrs. Harris's indifference to the systemic violation of the defendant's constitutional rights. Ms. Harris contested the ruling by arguing that the judge, whose husband was a defense attorney and had spoken publicly about the importance of disclosing evidence, had a conflict of interest. Ms. Harris lost more than 600 cases handled by this corrupt technician were dismissed. So going back to that, Kamala wanted this conviction by this lab tech who seemingly everyone knew was doing things inappropriately. She wanted all those convictions to be upheld. She wanted at least this one conviction to be upheld. And she even fought the judge, and the judge had to condemn her, like, no, not happening, and overturned 600 cases. That's ridiculous. 600 cases this lab tech had something to do with, and this allowed people either to be convicted or not convicted. I'm not sure the outcomes, but 600 cases that this lab tech had something to do with were dismissed. But she wanted to uphold those convictions. This is absolutely crazy. This article goes on to talk about the truancy act, the truancy law that I talked about, because and like I said, it disproportionately affected low income people of color, like I said earlier. So just going through. Um, uh, what does it say here? She declined to take a position on Proposition 47, initiative that approved by voters that reduced certain low-level felonies to misdemeanors. So in 2014, she declined to take a position on Proposition 47, a ballot initiative that approved by voters that reduced certain low-level felonies to misdemeanors. She laughed that year when a reporter asked if she would support the legalization of marijuana for recreational use. I know in 2018, and it talks about this, in 2018, she reversed her course on marijuana. But the fact that she wanted to keep people who had low-level felonies as felonies as opposed to reduce them to misdemeanors, so these people can not only support their families, get jobs, things of that sort, but live a normal life. I mean, these are low level. I don't know what a low level felony would be, but this is crazy. She did not have anything to say about it. In 2015, she opposed a bill requiring her office to investigate shootings involving officers. In 2015, she opposed a bill requiring her office to investigate shootings involving officers, and she refused to support statewide standards regulating the use of body-worn cameras by police officers. For this, she incurred criticism from an array of left-leaning reformers, including the Democratic state senators, the ACLU, and San Francisco's elected public defender. The activist Felicia Jones, who had supported Ms. Harris for years, asks how many more people need to be unalive before she steps in. So again, your top cop, these are her words, not mine, your top cop opposed a bill that would have her officers investigate, that would have her office investigate police-related shootings. Also, she didn't want her officers wearing body-worn cameras. So she's okay with police shooting people, and she's okay with not having evidence of what actually occurred and taking the cop's word for it because she's the top cop. What she say? I have some political credit. I'm going to spend some of it. I got to have this stick, and I put a carrot in front of it. These are her words, not mine. This came out of her mouth. This is crazy, and it gets better. It gets better. Worst of all is Mrs. Harris's record in wrongful conviction cases. So your top cop, let's break it down now, wants to put single parents in jail for their kids not going to school. Didn't want to opposed a lab tech who I guess was convicted of doing wrongdoings. She didn't want to overturn it. She fought that so that conviction would stay. Then the judge dismissed 600 cases. Her office opposed police investigating shootings and police investigating shootings and wearing body cam. I mean, all right, it gets better. Like I said, worst of all, though, is Ms. Harris's record in wrongful conviction cases. Consider George Gage, an electrician with no criminal record, who was charged at 99 with S.A., his stepdaughter, who reported the allegations years later. The case largely hinged on the stepdaughter's testimony, and Mr. Gage was convicted. So this young lady, and I don't agree with S.A. If this actually happened, then he deserves what he received. But this man, and mind you, now if you get accused of SA and you're going to prison, God bless you, because it's not pretty. You do not touch women and children. That is the code. So if you go into prison with something like this, it ain't gonna be a pretty sight. But he goes for SA, right? And the testimony, his conviction largely hinged on the stepdaughter's testimony that she said years later. After he's convicted, the judge discovered that the prosecutor had unlawfully held back potentially exculpatory evidence, including medical records indicating that the stepdaughter had been repeatedly untruthful with law enforcement. Her mother even described her as a pathological liar who lives her lies. Are we serious right now? Look, Boozy, help me out.
Nah, dog. Come on, man.
I mean, this is crazy. Like, the judge discovered that the prosecutor had been unlawfully holding back evidence, medical reports. So even the mom said her daughter's a liar. and lives in her lies. Like, and this dude got convicted of this years later. And this is ridiculous. And Kamala was all for it. Kamala was all for it. She refused to overturn this. This is crazy. So in 2015, when the case reached the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit in San Francisco, Ms. Harris's prosecutors defended the conviction, defended him being convicted. Daughter's a liar. Mom said she lives in her lies. Prosecution held back evidence. This was reported years later, right? And this dude's sitting in the bang. So this happened. This happened in '99. So this is 2015. Was that 16 years later? Maybe give or take, because we don't know what month it was. It finally reached the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and her prosecutors defended the conviction. They pointed out that Mr. Gage, while forced to act as his own lawyer, now he's his own lawyer. You know what they say about that? The lawyer, how's it go? The lawyer that has that the defendant that acts as his own lawyer the lawyer that defends himself has an idiot as a client. I believe that's how it goes. They pointed out that he had to act as his own lawyer. Let's see. That he had acted as his own lawyer, had not properly raised a legal issue in the lower court as the law requires. So they said that, hey, even though he had to act as his own attorney, he didn't properly raise a legal issue in the lower court as the law required. So because he didn't do everything right, because he's not a lawyer, but he had to act as his own, because he didn't do everything right. It's like, nah, I shouldn't go to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Shouldn't go there. Should not, because he didn't properly raise the issue in lower court. Now the appellate judges acknowledged the impediment and sent the case to mediation, a clear signal for Ms. Harris to dismiss the case. When she refused to budge, the court upheld the conviction on the technicality. Mr. Gage is still in prison serving a 70-year sentence. 70. That's after 69 and before 71. 70-year sentence. This man is in prison serving a sentence that for a crime that he did not commit. Potentially, allegedly. So the fact that I have to just go back, that the mom called her a liar, he lives in her lies. The fact that medical reports said that the daughter was untruthful with law enforcement. So she was lying to law enforcement, which goes with what the mother was saying. She lied to law enforcement, and she's a lie, lives in her lies. The fact this happened years later, the fact this man had no criminal record, right? The prosecution unlawfully held back potential evidence, right? And because him not being a lawyer and not knowing the law and wasn't able to properly raise the issue in the lower court, that you said, nope, he didn't do it right. So since he didn't do it right, we don't care if he's guilty or not guilty. He didn't do the proper causes. He didn't do the proper procedures. He's been in jail 16 years. He should have read enough law books. So because of that, like, nah, and the court had to uphold it because of that technicality. And he's serving a 70-year sentence. Like, but this is who y'all want to champion as the next president. This is somebody's father. This is somebody's son. Well, somebody's father potentially, but this is somebody's son. Right? This was somebody's man. Right? But you want to put him in prison. And this is why I say men don't become step crash dummies. This is an example of what I say to women all the time. Like, well, it's okay for a man to have kids, but not for me to have kids. No, it's, do whatever you want. But this dude is a stepfather. She probably got mad at him and lied. And because she lied, well, we know she lied because her mom even calls her a liar. She lied on this man. And he's serving 70 years for something he probably didn't commit. If he did, he deserves it. If he did not, this is crazy. This is crazy. So again, I said, don't be a step crash dummy. Don't take on nobody else's kids, because crap like this takes place. And the dude is serving 70 years. Let's keep going, because there's another one. Because this case, as the article says, is not an outlier. Ms. Harris also fought to keep Daniel Larson, which everyone knows this is one of the bigger ones, to keep Daniel Larson in prison on a 28-year to life sentence. She loves men in jail, I swear to God. 28-year to life sentence for possession of a concealed weapon, even though his trial lawyer was incompetent and there was compelling evidence of his innocence. Trial lawyer, incompetent, and compelling evidence of his innocence. Relying on a technicality again. She loves her technicalities. I'm trying to tell you, she's a top cop. If you let her be president, she's over law enforcement. Look out, black men. You want to be a passport bro? Now is the time to be a passport bro, because if she becomes president, it's time to leave. Technicality. Relying on technicality again, Ms. Harris argued that Mr. Lawson failed to raise his legal arguments in a timely fashion. Ms. Harris argued that Mr. Lawson failed to raise his legal arguments in it. So first one was a technicality. This was like, oh, he ain't raising enough. He ain't raising in a timely fashion. He waited too long to make this to say something. So now he don't get a chance. But she lost this one. She lost that one. So Daniel Larson, I believe, he got off on that one. She also defended Johnny Baca's conviction for murder, even though judges found a prosecutor presented false testimony at the trial. She relented only after a video of the oral argument received national attention and embarrassed her office. So you look up Johnny Baca. I didn't have a chance to, but Johnny Baca, that's B as in Bravo, ACA. She also defended Johnny Baca's conviction for murder, even though judges found a prosecutor presented false testimony at the trial. And she only backed down after the video surfaced. I mean, it keeps going. Because there's Kevin Cooper, the death row inmate whose trial was infected by racism and corruption. He sought advanced DNA testing to prove his innocence, but Ms. Harris opposed it. After the New York Times expose of the case went viral, she reversed her position. So the only way you're going to get her to reverse what she has to say, although she's hammering things with a hammer instead of gently, she's out hammering away, putting men in jail, make sure they stay there, make sure they can't get out. A New York Times article had to expose it. Expose had, and after that came out, she reversed her position. This is a shame because, as it says, all this is a shame because the state's top prosecutor has the power and the imperative to seek justice. In cases of tainted convictions, that means conceding error and overturning them. Rather than fulfilling that obligation, Ms. Harris turned legal technicalities into weapons so she could submit injustices. That's a damning statement there. I love how they wrote it, but it's a damning statement. She is a top prosecutor and has the power and the imperative to seek justice. She has the power and the imperative to seek justice. Justice means that a person innocent shouldn't go to jail, and a person guilty should. And she knew in at least 3 cases I just read of men who were potentially innocent and wanted to keep them in prison. So rather than fulfilling her obligation to seek justice, she turned legal technicalities into weapons so she could submit injustices. But this is who y'all want to be your next president because she's an AKA and she's black, right? This is what y'all want. Now, remind you, your sons, your daughters, your sons, your husbands, your cousins, your uncles are going to have to live in her America if she becomes president. Again, the president is the top law enforcement officer in the country. You see what her law enforcement record looks like. I haven't gotten any policies or politics or anything like that. You see where she is when it comes to law enforcement. This is where she's at. Putting single parents in jail for their kids not going to school. Refusing to overturn convictions or because of potentially innocent people because of technicalities until an expose or a video or worldwide attention comes to it. And then she's like, oh, okay, well, I'll reverse my course. This is her. This is her, the top cop with the stick and the carrot. And this is who y'all want to become y'all next president. Let's continue. All right, now let's pivot a little bit. I'm gonna show a video of her when she was a vice president. Want to hear her speech. See what she has to say about some things, and I know she likes working together. I can tell you that. Let's play this video. I thought it was kind of hilarious. What she how the speech went. I'm gonna play it real quick.
That is especially true when it comes to the climate crisis, which is why we will work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work operating from the new norms, rules, and agreements that we will convene to work together on to galvanize global action. With that, I thank you all. This is a matter of urgent priority for all of us, and I know we will work on this together. That is.
I love it. I love it. Oh my God. What I got out of that speech is we will work together. We'll convene to work together. These are what speeches are gonna look like with Kamala Harris. It's crazy. I know I hate to say it, but a lot of times women vote with their feelings and not the facts. So they live in their feelings and not the facts. They vote with their feelings and not the facts. That's dangerous. A Kamala Harris presidency is dangerous. I'm kind of afraid of that. I mean, I know, and I don't even want to get into the most dangerous topic for Black people, like the most dangerous place to be for Black people. And that's a woman's womb. I don't want to get into that. This is not the platform for that. This is not the show for that. But it's crazy. I'm still having a hard, like, I know you guys do not like Trump. I get it. But let's look at the policies. Look at the facts and figures. Look at the facts. This time, vote with your facts. Not the policies. I've showed you the facts right here. Y'all can say, well, oh, Trump didn't do this, or Trump didn't do that, or he didn't rent to Black people, or this, that, and the other. Black people loved Trump before he became president. Black men have been on board with him for a long time. Think about what the economy was like before, when Trump was in, before Bidenomics. Like, Trump's not a career politician, so he doesn't have that. But you look at Kamala Harris, you just saw what she's about when it comes to law enforcement. Joe Biden co-sponsored the crime bill that Bill Clinton passed, that was part of what she was doing, the 3-strike law. 3 strikes and you're out. Like, he co-sponsored that bill. There's a and here's other thing. There's a reason why Barack Obama has not endorsed her yet. Where's the DNC this year? Chicago. Don't be surprised if Kamala Harris is not the Democratic National Party's pick for president. Do not be surprised. Contrary to what Biden has to say. I want you to remember something. Biden was pissed because he was overlooked and was not endorsed for presidency, and that instead Obama endorsed Hillary Clinton. He was disappointed about that, which is why he didn't want to step down this time. He wanted to beat Trump again this time. But this time he was forced to step down. I believe when Barack Obama called him, was like, yeah, you got to step down, son. Like, you got to go. Like, you ain't and when they couldn't get rid of Trump through convictions, and they couldn't get rid of Trump by bullet. Like, all right, well, we can't get rid of this dude. He like a roach. You got to go. You got to go, bro. So this is, I mean, I get it. But the funny thing, the thing I laugh about the most about this, let me stop this this video real quick. Let me stop sharing this real quick. Stop sharing it, and I'll go full screen in a minute. And yeah, so this is an important time for us, man. This is very important, but it ties into the relationships, right? So as you see, she put a stepdad in. She kept a stepdad in jail. Guys, don't be stepdaddies. But women, she should be the antithesis of every woman, right? She's a working woman. So all those I want a man to sit me down. And I don't want to pay no bills. She's a working woman. Y'all supporting a woman that works? Come on, a woman that works? No, she should have. She got a dusty. Like she should not be with the dude she's with because the dude can't afford for her to stay at home. You know, the woman you love the most, Michelle Obama, working woman. So I'm trying to figure out where all these 0% adding to the household women are. Y'all should hate this woman because she's a working woman. She's, her man got on that 50-50 lifestyle. So y'all should love this woman. And so when I when I see this, when I see her policies, all I can do is just laugh, brother.
No.
Biden said twice in the debate last week.
So if it was legalized all throughout the country and medicinal, would you do it?
Listen, I
again?
think that it gives a lot of people joy, and we need more joy. In San Francisco.
That's all you're gonna get is a bunch of laughing and cackling. But it makes me laugh. So I mean, I'm laughing, she laughing. We all laughing because where my 50-50 women at? I mean, where my 0% women at? Where my woman? I ain't trying to work. I ain't paying for nothing. What them women at? You got a working woman here, lady. A working woman who wants to put black men in jail. I wonder why. Did Sweet Dick Willie treat her wrong? I wonder if he treated her wrong because she definitely wouldn't got her. Oh, and she got her a white man. Oh, I can't be with no. If y'all don't want me, I go get a white man. She got her a white man. Let's see what he looks like. There you go. There you go. There you go. No, but there you go. There's a beautiful husband there. Handsome husband, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But that it's ironic the background they got because she's definitely into that. She's like 100% into that. So I get the my body my choice people gonna definitely love her because if she could put a drive-through lane in California at one of them, she definitely would. In California, I believe up to 9 months, up to right before that thing is here. Like I said, I ain't gonna talk about it, but I think that's what she's all about. So I know she'll get some votes from that side, but again, women, hey, she got a job. So all them 0% women, no, you can't vote for her. But again, she's an AKA. She's a half black woman. So she'll definitely get some votes. I mean, like I said, she raised $1 million of AKAs. But I really wish you guys would vote with facts, not feelings, this go around. I'm looking forward to the debates coming up. I'm looking forward to the DNC. I'll watch it and see what happens. Because actually, I'm looking to see what happens because I don't know if she's going to actually be the candidate. And then if she is, who's going to be her VP pick? I mean, this happened so late in the game. It's kind of crazy. And I think what happened was they looked at that debate like, nah, bro, you got to stand down. So, yeah, this is crazy, man. So, I'm go full screen now. But yeah, this is an interesting dive into Kamala Harris. I mean, I have nothing against Kamala at all. I think she's a decent looking lady. I think she likes to laugh. That's cool, right? But I think Kristi Noem's a gorgeous woman too. I thought Sheila Jackson Lee was a beautiful woman too. Rest in heaven, too, right? So it's not about what you look like. Was AOC is a beautiful woman, but I don't agree with their policies, right? So I don't agree with their policies. I don't agree with putting women in jail, putting men in jail for their kids not going to school. I don't believe in not overturning convictions when they need to be overturned, not allowing someone to have a second trial, or keeping people in jail on technicalities. I don't believe in police not wearing body cams, right? I don't believe the AG's office should not investigate police shootings. I think these all need to be investigated. So these are things I don't agree with. These are policies I don't agree with. And people call her the border czar. She wasn't responsible to protect the border or go on the border. That was not her job. That's not what she was tasked to do. So that's why I didn't go down that path, because I know a lot of people go down the border czar path. But it's going to be a tough one, man. It's just because I know what a black woman means to the United States. Um, you know, I knew what Barack Obama meant for Black America, right? Um, he didn't do nothing for Black America, but I know what it meant. Just see a black face, and I know what it's like. I know what it would be like to see a black woman, because women of color, black women can say, you know what, I can be president, and that means a lot. That means an awful lot. So it hurts to be it hurts to have a woman who is black, right? Who is a soror, but her policies are just god awful when it comes to police, and she would be the top cop of the country. I just can't get on board with that. And I know women are all about staying on code. I can't do it because I have cousins, because I have friends who have sons. I'm a male. I can't imagine being put in prison for 70 years for something I didn't do. I can't imagine being kept in jail because of a technicality. And only because a major newspaper, Kim Kardashian, picks it up, I get let out. I can't. I can't. I just can't. And those policies are going to hurt people. Um, I can't imagine someone being shot by a cop and they're not responsible to have body cams on, and you're not going to investigate the shooting. Those are policies that affect me personally, and that's why I can't do it. And that's why I think some people haven't endorsed her yet. She's not fully endorsed by the DNC yet. So look at these facts. Look at these things. I mean, I like the fact she raised a bunch of money. She obviously has some steam behind her. But I can't consciously do it. So do I sit it out? Do I vote for Trump? Do I vote for Kamala? We'll all find out what happens in November. But yeah, this is crazy. But like I said, I didn't want to keep you guys long, but I guess I did. I apologize for that. It's probably my longest video. I'll probably get like one view, but I'm kidding. But no, I apologize. But yeah, I will leave you with this. Facts over feelings. Vote facts over feelings. Class dismissed.